Good afternoon, everyone. Hello and welcome along to the Sports Corner Live. We are back once again, as I always say, every single stream for another live watch-along for Euro 2020. And we are at the final group of Matchday number 1. We've had a week of brilliant action. Plenty of very interesting games and some fantastic goals. But we get to the group now, which I think everybody has got all eyes on. Of course, first game up this evening is Hungary against Portugal. Kickoff is in about 10 minutes time. We've got plenty to do in terms of the build-up for this game. And then the other game, which is later on this evening from about 8 PM UK time, that's when kickoff is, of course, is the most anticipated game of match day number 1. That is, of course, France versus Germany. But how are we all doing? Welcome along to the stream. If you are new, I'm Josh. Welcome to the Sports Corner for our watch-along today. And as I said, we've got 2 games coming up. One with me and one with Kieran D a little bit later on tonight. Of course, you'll be able to join in for that. But first of all, as we always say, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like and a subscription on the stream if you are new. We are pushing towards 2,300 subscribers on the channel, so anyone who wants to support is massively appreciated indeed. But Tubbs is in the building as well. How are we doing, Tubbs? Hope you're all good. Welcome along, my friend. Good to see you as always. Of course, he's been talking about the Hungary team. But as I said, 10 minutes, or less than 10 minutes, you'll say at least, till kick-off. We've got some build-up to do. And I'm really looking forward to today's games because, you know, as we said before, Group F is arguably the most anticipated group I think there has ever been, ever, in an international competition. There's never been a group, in my opinion, with so much world-class talent on offer. It's crazy, isn't it? It leaves you speechless. We've got Portugal, France and Germany. And as I've said multiple times before, there is a potential, depending on what happens in all of those games, for maybe one of those three sides to miss out and not get themselves into the next round of the competition, which is absolutely staggering when you think about it. You know, so many good players. Mbappe, Benzema, Ronaldo, Havertz, Werner, Kroos. The list is endless of quality players that are participating just in this specific group. And no doubt we should have 2 very good games today. First of all, of course, Hungary against Portugal. And if you haven't watched these 2 sides before, or preferably you haven't watched Hungary, then you will maybe not know that Hungary were one of the sides that did make it through the playoff fixtures, which took place earlier this year. They came in quite convincing fashion as well to get through to the Euros. And of course, it was a real shame for them because they knew they were going to be put into a group full of world-class players and stars. But at the same time, you can also look at it and think to yourself that they are in a group which they get to play the very best players in the world. And although they have got some class players in their side, which we, of course, will go through in just a moment's time, I think there are a lot of players here that will be very happy that they are on the same pitch as the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes and all the other players that are going to be playing in this fixture today. So without further ado, let's go through the lineups for today's game, and then we'll go through over the stats of the match and what's potentially to come up in a few moments' time. And we'll be starting off with the Hungary side, which today is playing with a 3-5-2 formation. Peter Galacki is in goal. He has had a pretty decent season with RB Leipzig in the Bundesliga. In the back 3, there is also Willy Orban, another one of the Leipzig players. He's in the side alongside Attila Szalai and Endre Botka, 2 players who do play at a lower level of football, but will no doubt be in a very good position today to be trying to defend against the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo. It is a midfield 5. Attila Fiola and Gergo Lovrencic are the 2 wingers. Lovrencic actually did play in that 3-3 draw against Portugal 5 years ago. That was, of course, an absolute classic at the Euros. A very well-remembered game for the quality of goals in that match. And then in the midfield, Andras Schaefer, Bristol City midfielder Adam Nagy, and then other midfielder Laszlo Kleinheisler is in the midfield alongside the other two players. Nagy, of course, the standout player from Bristol City. No doubt we'll see him on the ball today. Apparently on the UEFA website, playing a little bit of a deeper role, as you would expect, but we'll have to see. And then the two up top, 34-year-old Adam Szalai. You might remember him, of course. He's been around the block in the Bundesliga, playing for Mainz as it currently stands. Of course, if you are a regular on the channel, you will know that Kieran D has a massive affiliation with Adam Szalai. But he will be backing him today. And then up top with him is his other Bundesliga partner who plays for Freiburg, Roland Szalai. Brilliant to see two of those players up top. On the bench, they do include Nemanja Nikolic, former player of Chicago Fire, moved back to the Hungarian leagues last year. As for Portugal, this is their lineup for today's game. Their opening fixture starts with a 4-3-3 formation. Rui Patricio, he's in goal today, of course linked with a move to AS Roma in real life from Wolves. Back four sees Rafael Guerreiro and Nelson Semedo as the two fullbacks, with the Premier League Player of the Season, Ruben Dias, alongside 38-year-old Pepe. Good to see, of course, Pepe still playing at the highest level of football with FC Porto. We did, of course, see them in the Champions League not too long ago. Midfield three, Danilo Pereira and William Carvalho, two holding midfielders that have played brilliantly well for both respective clubs, PSG and, of course, Real Betis. And then Bruno Fernandes is in the midfield, of course. Manchester United player, had a brilliant season in the Premier League. Up top, Bernardo Silva is on the left-hand side. Cristiano Ronaldo is on the right-hand side. And Diogo Jota is the striker up top, although I wouldn't be surprised if all three of the front line were to shift about in this game constantly. We know that Cristiano Ronaldo is an absolute menace anywhere on the pitch. Looking at the bench, a whole host of stars of the past, present and future, including João Moutinho, Rafa Silva of Benfica, and Pedro Gonçalves, who is today, as we have been doing throughout the whole of the tournament, our one-to-watch player. Now, he's not, of course, starting the game straight up today, which is a little bit of a shame. It would have been nice to have seen him start the match. But he is somebody who I do think we will see come on at some point in this game, potentially if the scoreline is fairly convincing. Only 23 years, he's a very young player, of course, former Wolves man as well, so if you're a Wolves fan, you'll be a little bit disappointed at the fact that they did let him go for relatively cheap to Sporting. He's only had 2 appearances for Portugal. The only reason why he's only had 2 appearances is he made his debut only 11 days ago. That's right, in the international friendlies is when he made his debut. Of course, he is dubbed as the next Bruno Fernandes purely because of the talent that he brings to the table. So we're about to get underway with this game in the tournament. And what an incredible, incredible atmosphere it is. It's the only stadium in the whole of the tournament that will be full. That's right, there are 60,000 fans in the stadium today. 90% of them are Hungarians, of course, from Budapest, as we do get underway with the first of 2 mouth-watering games in Group F. One of them, of course, being this fixture between Hungary and Portugal. My prediction for this match, I am going to go for a 3-1 victory to Portugal. I think as much as I would love to see a repeat of the 3-3 classic that we saw a few years ago between these two sides, I really do think that this is going to be quite a good game for Portugal to flex their muscles early on in the competition before they do come up against the other 2 big boys in their group, which are, of course, France and Germany. We'll see those in action a little bit later on tonight, no doubt. Should be a very good game indeed. But as I was saying before, 60,000 fans in Budapest today. Of course, the only stadium which will have a completely full atmosphere. So for once, and for the first time in what will feel like forever, we actually are able to hear 60,000 fans, or at least no added crowd noise for the first time, which is very, very nice indeed. I think we're so used to having constant noise. But seeing what you guys are putting in the chat, I couldn't actually see any of your comments whatsoever. They've only just come up. Good to see you all in the building. Kyle's in the building. He put, hey all eyes will be on Ronaldo. Just needs 1 goal to be the overall Euros goal scorer and 6 to beat the overall men's goal scorer, and you're spot on with that. He also, if he scores today, will become the first player ever to score in 5 European Championships. So even though all eyes would be on Ronaldo anyway, all eyes will be on him even more today, knowing that there are a lot of records on the line for him over this tournament. Chris is in the building as well. Hope you're all good, Chris. Welcome along to the stream. He's put his prediction in the chat of 3-0 to Portugal in this game against Hungary. Should be a very interesting one. KD's in the building. He's put, I've got the pleasure of watching Adam Shalai. And I'll tell you something. For the Hungarian side, I don't know if you've ever seen the video, but when they did play their fixture out against, I think it was Iceland in the playoffs, their actual manager, Marco Rossi, who is on the touchline today, contracted COVID at that point, so wasn't there. So the person to do the team talk for that match was actually Adam Shalai. A very inspirational team talk, very powerful, very loud team talk from the veteran striker. But no doubt today, very similar to what we saw in that match last night between Spain and Sweden. I think it is going to be a game for Hungary where they're going to have to make the most of the very few chances that they'll get up top. But we'll have to see, of course, as it's brilliant just to hear so many fans right now in the stadium, of course, all supporting Hungary today. But hope you're all good, everybody. Good to see all your comments as well. Glad to see everybody doing fantastic over these last 12 or so hours since we last did our previous stream. Kyle's saying Hungary, unfortunately, may be the whipping boys in this group. Portugal, France and Germany will need to score a lot to be in the chance of getting the top spot. And I do agree with you. It is going to be a very, very tight-knit group when all those teams do face off against each other, when Portugal face off against France and Germany. I think it is probably maybe going to be something which comes down to goal difference. And I think it is key in those games against Hungary to go out there and get yourself a few goals on the board. And let's say, if, for example, Portugal were to score 3 or 4 in this match without much response, then it would put Portugal into a very good position for their other 2 games, because they know that, and I think realistically as well, Portugal probably won't concede many goals in this tournament if they make it all the way, or if they don't. But regardless of that, I don't think they'll concede many. So the key will be on the likes of Ronaldo, Diogo Jota, and Bernardo Silva today on the left wing to go out there and get some goals. And it might be the opening chance of the game as the ball is played into the middle. Might be an opportunity for Jota. Brilliant save in the end from Galacci, who's able to just punch the ball away. And that was the first real opportunity of the match. And almost Diogo Jota putting the ball into the back of the net after 5 minutes on the clock. And he was a brilliant, brilliant ball. And Diogo Jota doesn't actually see Cristiano Ronaldo on the left, who was making a run. And Ronaldo wanted the ball. He didn't give it to him in the end. He took the shot on. Pretty decent save in the end from Galacci. And unfortunately, Ronaldo, as you would expect, and as he always is, absolutely fuming at the fact that the ball wasn't given to him. And it is going to be a set piece here for Portugal, which is going to be lobbed into the box. Comes towards the near post, towards Pepe, who takes the shot on, or the header at the least. And in the end, it's actually going to come back as a foul. Player, I think, pushed in the box by Danilo Pereira. And in the end, it will be a free kick for Hungary. And a chance for them just to breathe in this early section of the match, no doubt. There's going to be a hell of a lot of defending to do in this game. But seeing what you guys have been saying in the chat. Tubbs saying being very busy, getting used to the married life. Hopefully, everything's been going well for you, Tubbs. Obviously, congratulations once again. It has been a little while since you've been in this stream. As Kyle put, always hate when players are dubbed the next Messi, Ronaldo, or compared to them. Just leave them alone and let them be their own player. And yeah, I think he's one of those where when players are of similar moulds or they've been through similar situations, Pedro Gonçalves is the perfect example of a player who has gone through similar things to Bruno Fernandes. Plays at the same club as he did, playing in the same position, was the heir to the throne, I guess you could say. It is one of those, realistically, where I think it's a strange one, and he will get a lot of plaudits kind of calling him the next Bruno Fernandes, but he's his own player, he's got his own style, and it'll be very interesting to see what he can bring to this tournament. And of course, he's on the bench today, so we're not going to see him straight away. As I said, I think it'll be one of those situations where if Portugal can maybe get 2 or 3 goals on the board, be in a comfortable position, then we maybe might see something. There's a call here for a potential shout of a push. And I tell you, it's a very slight appeal from Roland Shalai from a push. And it was Ruben Dias who pushed Shalai down, and the referee, unmoved in that situation, got a very, very good view on it. And of course, the 60,000 Hungarian fans in Budapest all screaming at potentially that being a goal-scoring opportunity. But the referee doesn't give anything in the end. And it's been a fairly lively start here, as we are going to get a free kick to Portugal. Foul, I believe, given there. It was a foul on Nelson Semedo from Fiola. And in a very similar position to the free kick that we had about a minute or 2 ago, Portugal are going to get themselves another free kick. And maybe another opportunity to put the ball into the back of the net. Not many players pushing forward. One of them who is in the box, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo, scored plenty of goals in the European Championships over his career. Scored a couple of goals, of course, against Hungary in that 3-3 draw. And he might have an opportunity here as Bruno Fernandes lobs the ball into the box. And it's a brilliant ball. And in the end, again, Diogo Jota, for the second time in the space of 5 minutes, gets himself a touch in the box. But it's all a horrible, horrible touch at the end. It's all wrong from the Liverpool forward. Doesn't get a good touch whatsoever. And the ball eventually flying out of play for a goal kick. And so far, so good. 10 minutes on the clock. It's been a lively start. And, of course, Hungary not really having many chances in the game yet. But we have seen the danger with the ball over the top. Of course, Adam Shalai, not the smallest of players. I think he's 6'4". Here's Cristiano Ronaldo, though, on the left wing. What can the Juventus forward do? Of course, had a pretty big struggle at Juventus last season. Certainly got plenty of goals under his belt and assists. But Juve always struggling under Andrea Pirlo, finding it really hard to claim that UCL spot. And in the end, it took them to the very last game of the season to eventually go on and get the UCL spot for next season. And, of course, rumours circulating if Ronaldo will stay under Allegri, who's back in charge of the club after a spell away. But I think he will stay, in my opinion. I don't think we will see Ronaldo leave the club at any near point in the future. Of course, very hard to find any club that's going to take him on with the extortionate wages that he, of course, expects. But here's Hungary on the ball for the first time. Chance for Adam Nagy to push forward. Eventually, good tackle from William Carvalho. Ball has been given back, and the advantage has actually gone to Portugal in the end. And as we hit the 10th minute of the match, a very lively start, as you would expect, from both teams as they tried to push forward in what will be the most important game for Portugal. Especially with the fact that they have got the other two sides, France and Germany, to come. They will need to make sure that they get themselves the all-important goals early on. As Tubbs has said in the chat, Ruben Dias will definitely relish this tournament if he learns stuff from Pepe. And I completely agree with you. I think that is a fantastic back line that Portugal have got. And I think one thing that's always been said about the Portugal back line in the last kind of couple of years is that it's a little bit weak. But when you actually look at it now, I think it's very, very strong. You know, they've got so much depth and players that can play in positions. You know, I think it was a few years ago when it was Pepe and Bruno Alves at the back in Euro 2016, as there's a chance here on the right wing for Nelson Semedo. Just going to play it into the path of Carvalho. Brilliant season, as I said earlier, for Real Betis, who finished in the Europa League spots for the first time, I think, in a long, long time. Real Betis, brilliant club full of star players, and Carvalho definitely is one of them. Certainly recommend keeping an eye out for him in the tournament. Been linked with lots of clubs in the past. Liverpool, I think, was one of them a few years ago. I think United wanted him a few years ago as well. But certainly making a mark in Spain. And he'll be hoping in that midfield alongside his other international teammate, Danilo Pereira, that they can keep out the likes of the strong midfielders, including Kroos and Pogba, over the next few days. But yeah, as I was saying before, with the Portugal back line, you know, a few years ago it was the likes of Bruno Alves at the back, but now they've got plenty of depth, as there's going to be an opportunity here for Jota on the left wing. Done really well, tries to flick a ball into the box, and it's a really weak cross in the end by Jota. That's easily cleared by Botka. And it will come back to Portugal again. It's going to be an opportunity at the edge of the box. Maybe a shout for a penalty. It was a chance which I believe, in the end, Rafael Guerreiro went down in the box. It was a very weak tackle, I think, from Botka. But I don't think anything will be given. And a little bit of a poor first touch as well, I think, from Rafael Guerreiro there. And you can see, of course, the very few Portuguese fans that have travelled over to Budapest are being treated to an incredible atmosphere. I mean, every single seat is full. And that's what you want to see, of course. I'm going to have to take 2 seconds here. Phone's ringing. Give me 2 seconds. Apologies about that. Phone was going. Apologies. I would have kept on the phone. It was a, you know, the calls that you usually get, the businesses trying to sell stuff. It was one of those. And on another day, I would probably sit there and waste their time. But unfortunately, when Hungary and Portugal are playing, I haven't got time to do that. So I just put the phone down on him. Sorry. But yeah, 14 minutes in here. 0-0 as it stands. And hopefully, we should get a few goals in this one. But yeah, another day I would have probably been on the phone for a good 10 or 15 minutes and wasted the time. But I don't want to miss a large part of the match, as Hungary on the ball here, trying to push forward for what would be the first time in the game. It is Lovrencic, who, as I said before, one of the very few players who've played in the team that were up against Portugal back at Euro 2016. It was, of course, that 3-3 draw, which we are probably going to talk about over and over again in this stream today. But it was one of those games, wasn't it? That was absolutely unbelievable. And of course, looking at the record of the two sides, I forgot to show you a little bit earlier on, head to head. They faced off 13 times before, Hungary and Portugal. Portugal have never lost to Hungary ever. The last match they actually played was back in 2018. It was it was 2017. It was a qualifier for the 2018 World Cup. It was a 1-0 win for Portugal. And of course, that last Euros match was in 2016. It was a 3-3 draw, of course. Hungary, 4 draws, 9 defeats. Portugal, 9 wins, 4 draws. That's how it looks on the board. Brilliant results, isn't it, for Portugal? Absolutely incredible. As Toes has put, this game has saved Josh from being a complete dick. Yeah. To be fair, though, it's always nice to waste their time. At least they know they're getting paid to sit there and do nothing because I'm wasting their time. Going to get a free kick, though, here for Portugal. A few feisty tackles going in, I think. It looks like the referee's going to give it to Portugal here. And it was in the end a clash there between Nelson Semedo and Viola. Both going in for the ball. And eventually Nelson Semedo pretty much doing a front flip in the end. Very awkward landing for the Portuguese right back. Of course, another one of the Wolves players in the side. Got a whole plethora of them, including Rui Patricio and Ruben Neves. But it actually looks like, somehow, Viola is the player that's come off worse here. Nelson Semedo getting right back up onto his feet instantly. And Viola does look like he's going to be alright to continue, which is good to see. But I think more importantly, Nelson Semedo is alright, because it looked much worse for the Portuguese right back. Completely did a front flip and then nearly landed on his shoulder. as the game will continue. And there are 60,000 Hungary fans all trying to make as much noise as they can to help their side, as there's an opportunity here for Cristiano Ronaldo to push up the pitch. Advantage being given to Hungary, and a chance for them to move forward here. Ball's going to be with Kleinheiser into the path of Adam Shalai, who is up against Rafael Guerreiro. And it's Guerreiro who comes out on top, but it will be a Hungary throw-in in the attacking half of play. And we're just seeing that tackle there from Adam Nagy on Ronaldo. Probably could have been a free kick. I think maybe a little bit harsh there to have not given it as a free kick to Portugal, but the referee decides not to, and play will continue. And Fernando Santos, the manager, been in charge for 7 years now, of course, was very crucial in their Euros win back in 2016. I think it's bonkers to think that they didn't actually win a game in normal time in the tournament, and they went on to win it. It's crazy, isn't it? As they were called for a free kick for Hungary there. Then Pepe went down, and it's actually gone to Portugal. They're going to push the ball up the pitch here. It's Danilo Pereira. Into the path of Rafael Guerreiro. Now onto the left-hand side with Jota, who I've got to say has been really poor in this first 20 minutes. Don't shoot the messenger. Sorry, Chris, but he's not had a good game here. I think 90% of his passes and shots have been completely wayward so far in this game. But here's Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side. And looking at the formation, it looks like a 4-2-3-1, as you would have expected. Carvalho and Pereira as the two holding midfielders. Bruno a little bit further up the pitch. With Jota on the left and Bernardo on the right. Ronaldo as the striker. You know, as we said before, I think that will constantly change as the match goes on. Players alternating positions as they try and find space to exploit the Hungarian backline as the ball is over the top towards Ronaldo. Brilliant save from Galacci. And I think you've got to admit there, the flag was actually put up in the end for offside. But had that have been onside, I think Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo should have put the ball into the back of the net. And it's a marginal decision, but I would probably say a correct one in the end to give it as an offside. And in the end, when you see the opportunity, Ronaldo, of course, watching the ball to come down, gets the slightest of touches. And in the end, unfortunately, the linesman puts his flag up, offside. And a little moment there for Hungary to breathe as they do the Iceland clap. Haven't heard that for a few years now, have we? They'll be hoping that they can do something similar to what Iceland did a few years ago. As there's a chance for the ball to come forward. It's going to be Roland Shalai on the right wing. Pepe, though, getting the ball back. And in the end, it is going to be a free kick to Portugal in their own half. And I think it's been adjudged that Adam Shalai fouled Pepe in the end. And I think the referee is just going to have a bit of a talking to here with Diogo Jota and Lovencic. Both players been kind of tussling against each other in the early sections of this game. And yeah, we're just seeing that again. Not much in it whatsoever, but the referee's given the free kick. And a chance there for Portugal just to calm the play down. As we reach the 20th minute mark of this match, 0-0 as it stands. And Tubb saying, sad to think that Hungary's danger man is Adam Shalai. And it is. Because that team in 2016 was not a bad team whatsoever, the Portuguese, the Hungary side even. You know, they've got Zoltán Gera in there, who, yes, was a little bit old, but scored a belter of a goal in that match. One of my favourite players of all time, Balázs Dzucsak, which I'm gutted, still plays football at a decent level, but isn't with Hungary at the tournament. So I'm good about that because, of course, Balázs Dzucsak did score 2 goals in that game against Portugal a few years ago. But unfortunately not called up in the Hungary squad. And as you said, yeah, Adam Shalai, he's the man. He's the captain as well, and he's on the ball now in the midfield. Going to play it onto the left-hand side to Lovencic. Looking for the overlapping run. No foul given on Botka. And in the end, the centre-back, who feels very harshly done by the referee, isn't going to get anything, and it'll be a Portugal throw-in on what has been a fairly decent start to the match. You know, when you look at the first 20 minutes and to the stats of the game, we've had 2 shots, 1 on target for Portugal. That's 71% possession. Only 29% for Hungary. But so far, so good, and I think they'll be quite happy that they've gone through the first 20 minutes without conceding, because they do look hungry, Portugal, but they haven't done anything yet. As I've just actually seen Zoltan Geri's on the coaching staff, so he's here, which is good to see, but unfortunately not playing like he did in this fixture 5 years ago. Here is William Carvalho, though, on the right wing. Done really well to try and get a ball into the box, and in the end, it is going to be a corner. Slight deflection, I think, from Lavencic, which takes it out. And an opportunity here from the set piece for Hungary to do a little bit of defending, and maybe an opportunity for Portugal to get themselves a goal. As Carl's put, it's strange to think the first group of games are almost done. It's flew by. I agree with you. It's mad, isn't it? You know, we're pretty much nearly a week into the tournament, and it's gone by like that. So, corner's going to be whipped in a moment. Bernardo Silva was going to take it. It's actually Bruno Fernandes is going to take it instead. Gets it towards Ronaldo, who doesn't get a touch. Good defending at the back by, I think it was Adam Shalai, who got the eventual touch. And Portugal will get the ball back. It's going to be Bernardo Silva, just a little bit further out from the corner flag. Plays it into the path of Nelson Semedo. Here's Bruno Fernandes on the right wing, just covering for Bernardo Silva, who gets back into his usual position on the pitch. But brilliant work, I've got to say, there from Schaefer, who gets the ball back, and he will get a free kick for Hungary here. And they do need to get a bit of possession going, because it is very similar, isn't it, to the... I wouldn't say similar, but Portugal having a lot of possession. Hungary really struggling to do anything with the ball so far. In fact, when you actually look at the stats of the game, Hungary have only had 66 passes in the game, 145 passes for Portugal. Obviously not as dominant to what we saw yesterday with Spain and Sweden, but they do need to get something going, you feel, Hungary. Just test Rui Patricio, who so far hasn't even had a sniff of an opportunity at his goal, and he'll be probably trying to keep himself nice and motivated and in the mood, as we are going to get, I think, no, it's actually a Hungary goal kick. I thought they'd given a corner there for Portugal, but in the end, it actually looks like the ball's come off Diogo Jota. And as I said before, I don't think Jota's had a great game at all. I'm going to be honest with you. As we see all the fans in the stadium, the 60,000, mostly Hungarians. Beautiful to see them all in the stadium today, in the red and black kits of the Hungarian side. And I mean, if they could get themselves a few results in this group, or even just get a point on the board, I think they'd be quite buzzing, to be honest with you. And as you would expect, the whole stadium will be packed out for the 4 fixtures that Budapest have got. I think they've got the 3 group games for Hungary, or 2 of them at least, I think. And then one of the knockout fixtures I think they've got as well. So no doubt the stadium will be full for the whole of those 4 fixtures. Budapest, as I said, the only country participating that can have a full stadium. I think it was something to do with the passes. They have a certain pass system in Hungary right now to make sure that those who have had their vaccine can go out there and enjoy moments like this, as we are going to get a Hungary free kick in their own half. But Chris has put in the chat, after having time to think, I'll be quitting social media. I just hate it, making me stress too much. So you'll only find me on YouTube. Can't be done with it. No more load of nonsense. And it's absolutely toxic. It depends on the people that you talk to whether it's toxic or not. There's always going to be people out there, regardless, that will be there to just stir the pot and to make things annoying for people, to wind people up, basically. So it's all about picking the right people to talk to on social media, to whether it's toxic or not. But there's going to be a chance here for Ronaldo to come forward at the edge of the box. For that, Bruno Fernandes was next to him. And in the end, Bruno Fernandes had actually ran off to the right-hand side. But they've got the ball back here. Might be an opportunity. Bernardo Silva in the box. Taken down with a fantastic tackle from Fiola. Beautiful tackle in the end from the right midfielder, who times his tackle intricately to get the ball. And a moment there where Hungary had been completely opened up. Somehow, they were able to get themselves away from the goal. Although here's Guerrero. And I've got to say, a real chance there. Not used. Here's Bruno Fernandes. Lobs the ball into the box towards Ronaldo. It's headed away by Willy Orban. And the ball will come back again here for Bernardo Silva. On the right-hand side. Takes on his man. Going to play it to Semedo. Lobs the ball into the box. A little bit too heavy. And eventually, in the end, it will actually be headed away by Botka. And the ball will come back to Portugal again with a throw-in. And the pressure just beginning to build now for the home side. With 20 minutes left on the clock. You just feel like this is the first real proper wave of attacks that Portugal have had. It's going to be Bruno Fernandes on the right-hand side. Into Bernardo Silva. You can see how crucial Bruno Fernandes is into the game. Ball lobbed into the box. Tries to get it towards Ronaldo at the near post. And it's a fizzed ball into the box. But a little bit too heavy. And we're just seeing that chance again from Bernardo Silva. The shout for a potential penalty. And it's a good tackle in the end from Fiola. Gets a good touch on the ball. And it was actually Willy Orban, sorry. I thought it was Fiola at first, but Fiola was just in front of him. It was Willy Orban that got the touch. And a really, really well-worked tackle from the Leipzig defender, who got the ball perfectly. Here's William Carvalho, though, about 40 yards out from goal. Ball fizzed to the right-hand side of the pitch. That's where pretty much all of the opportunities have come from so far. Semedo with a cross into the box. Slight deflection on the ball. Which means that Portugal will get themselves another corner in this game. As they are really probing in this match. Desperately trying to get themselves that opening goal of the game. But can they get it? We've not had many goals, have we? In the first half of Euro 2020 matches so far. I think there's only been 6 or 7. But the corner's lobbed in. Tries to get it towards Pepe. Who doesn't get it in the end. And now an opportunity here for Hungary to maybe break. Ball is with Kleinheiser. But he isn't able to do anything with it. And it will be a Hungary throw-in. In the defensive half of play. But it has been a pretty busy half, hasn't it, for the front line. All 4 players in Jota, Fernandes, Silva and Ronaldo have had the ball quite a bit. But they just haven't got the all-important goal yet. And very similar to what we saw last night against Spain and Sweden. The longer that this game goes on and Hungary don't concede, the more desperate, especially with this group, a little bit more than the Group E, will Portugal maybe need to push numbers forward. Because we might only be on game number 1 of this group, but every game is going to be decisive to how Group F finishes. And this is the key match, isn't it? That you want to go out there and grab a few goals. It's Cristiano Ronaldo on the left wing. Ball played to Jota, who's going to dink it into the path of Pepe. Now Bernardo Silva on the right wing, looking to cut in, maybe even move into the box. He's going to chip a ball towards Ronaldo, who does get a slight glance on the ball. He's happy with that cross from Bernardo Silva, but he didn't get the greatest of headers. And in the end, his header just goes a little bit too wayward of the goal. But Ronaldo certainly pleased with the conviction and the cross from Bernardo Silva. He probably knows in that situation he should do a little better. But a chance certainly for Portugal there. As we have reached the half an hour mark. And as I will repeat earlier, as you said, Kyle, I think the thing is as well is it's not just like the whole tournament's gone quick. I always feel like all the first halves of pretty much every game have just gone like that. And the second half, as you would expect, is a little bit more action-packed as teams get more desperate to push numbers forward and try and get a goal. But the first half seemed to go fairly quick. And they've not had many goals in them, so it's very weird indeed. But as Carl has put in the chat, it's great to see the stadium full of fans and actual real fan voices. Glad to not hear the fake crap crowd noise anymore. And yeah, it's brilliant to see. I like Hungary's approach to how they've gone with COVID. They've gone with the pass system. And those who have had the vaccines have been able to get themselves back into the stadiums and enjoy the extra good things in life, basically, that we haven't had for quite a while. Of course, England going through a few more weeks of what I wouldn't really call a lockdown anymore. I'd just call it the... I don't really know what the word would be for it, to be honest with you. But a few restrictions still in place, I think, is the best way to put it for now. But less about that, more about Portugal, who are on the ball at the halfway line. It's going to be Ruben Dias, the star and the future of the Portuguese defence. One of the best centre-backs in world football already, and no doubt Pepe has learnt him a few tricks and tips over the last few years of his career. Of course, was previously at Benfica as the captain before moving to Manchester City. Rare mistake at the back, though, and a chance here for Hungary to push forward. Ball from Adam Shalai into Roland Salai, who doesn't get a touch in the end. And unfortunately, just as we saw for Sweden earlier in that first half of their match yesterday, they just can't seem to be able to do anything with the ball, which is a real shame for them. But I think if you're a Hungary fan, if you can get to half-time and the score be 0-0, you'll be quite delighted with that, as Galashi just going to have to boot the ball up the pitch there. Could have been a shout for potential pass back. And eventually that ball will eventually land all the way with Ruben Dias. And I think Sean has probably said a very fair point. I call it more like prison. You're not wrong. Here's Salai trying to push this Hungarian side forward. They're actually going to pass it back in the end, and maybe that's the worry for me in this game. Obviously, there's not really a sense of urgency, but they just seem really scared to push up the pitch. Always seem to be retreating. Here's Schaefer, though, on the right wing. Again, passing the ball back, being a little bit hesitant as they try and get an opportunity in the game. And he's going to go all the way back to Botka. He's going to hit the ball long. Tries to find a pass to Lovrencic, who's done really well. And in the end, unfortunately, it's actually going to go out of play for a Portuguese goal kick, I think. But a lovely long ball from Botka into Lovrencic, who tried his hardest to get the touch. Gets the touch on the ball in the end. And then Jota hits Lovrencic on the head. And it should actually be a Hungary corner here. And in the end, it wasn't given, which I think is pretty poor refereeing there. Because it did come off the left foot of Jota. As Sasha's in the building. How are we doing, Sasha? Hope you're good. He says, go Hungary. Hopefully they can get something in this game. Fingers crossed, we will have to see. As Pepe hooves the ball long. Gets it towards Bruno Fernandes. And his back heel in the end eventually lands at the feet of Botka, who again tries to go a long ball. Doesn't get to Adam Shalai. And Rafael Guerreiro will get the ball back and push up the away side, who desperately need to get a goal, you feel. Here's Ronaldo on the left-hand side. Plays the ball to Nelson Semedo, about 45 yards out from goal. To Bruno Fernandes. Now to Pepe, who at the age of 38, I've got to say, has had a brilliant career and a brilliant season for Portugal and for Porto. Here's Adam Shalai, who's finding himself put up against 3 Portuguese players, but he does so well to keep the ball, and he's actually going to get a free kick in the end. And fair play to Adam Shalai, because there were 3 players around him. One of them was Pepe, one of them was Bernardo Silva, and I think one of them was Bruno Fernandes. And somehow, in the end, he was able to keep the ball. And it was the foul from Bernardo Silva that's got Hungary the free kick. But he did really, really well there to keep the ball and get something out of it. And this might be an opportunity from a set piece, just maybe, for Hungary to do something here. And I think the centre-backs are going to take a little gamble and push up the pitch. 2 of them are staying back, so I think one of them's come up. And Roland Shalai has an opportunity here to put in an in-swinging ball and just maybe shock Portugal. It would be lovely to see. Can they do it? So Roland Shalai with the ball. Obviously he's got Adam Shalai, who he could cross the ball towards. And it'll be Roland Shalai who lobs the ball into the box. Comes towards Adam Shalai, who does get a glancing header on the ball. And it was an opportunity in the end for Hungary. And a really decent header. Maybe felt like there for a second that he just didn't get a good enough touch on the ball, Adam Shalai. Probably could have done a little bit better with a player of his height. But now there's a chance here for Portugal to break forward. Ball played towards Ronaldo, doesn't get to him in the end, and now an opportunity for Hungary to break forward again. Adam Shalai trying to cross it to his teammate Roland Salai, but the pass is just a little bit too heavy. And again, Portugal will get the ball back. And a man who didn't score many goals last season for Mainz. If you've seen some of our streams before where we did cover the Mainz games in the Bundesliga, you'll know there was a few complaints from Kieran on Adam Shalai and how he played. As I was saying that, there was a long ball played towards Jota, and again, just hasn't had a great game in my opinion, Jota. I don't want to sit there and complain, but I do think he's not had a really good game at all, as we are going to get the first yellow card of the match. And although Kyle was saying a few moments ago he's surprised Bernardo Silva didn't get one, it will be Ruben Dias who goes into the book in the game, and well, he's complaining to the referee about his decision. And this is the referee who I think he's actually retiring at the end of the season. And yes, in the end, I think it's the right decision in the end to give that as a yellow card. It is a really high foot on Kleinheisler. And it will be Ruben Dias who goes into the book. First yellow card of the game. And I do agree with you, Carl. I do think we should have probably had 2 yellow cards in the match. I think we should have probably seen Bernardo Silva get one for his tackle. But yellow card for Ruben Dias. And we've 7 minutes left here. Portugal and Hungary have both had the same amount of shots on target in the first 40 minutes, which I think would quite surprise many people with how this game has gone. But Portugal not looking too good in front of goal, which is quite bizarre when you've got arguably 4 high world-class stars in your team. But now, Hungary starting to build into this match. They've got to throw in the attacking side of play. And just maybe, Hungary starting to build up into this game before half-time. Throw-in taken towards Adam Shalai, who's just brilliant. Adam Shalai tries to play it to Roland Shalai. But in the end, Pepe doing really well at the back. Gets the ball, but doesn't clear it away convincingly enough. And the ball will come back to Adam Nagy, who's actually giving it away. But then it's given away again by Portugal. Real sloppy few moments in this match. And it will be Kleinheisler. Tries to take the ball to Roland Salai. And in the end, a really sloppy 30 seconds, I would say, in the game, where neither team really wanted the ball. And here come Portugal on the left-hand side. Diogo Jota got Ronaldo in the middle if he wants to ping it into the box. Guerreiro as well at the edge. Jota's going to try and go on his own. It's a real waste, and you can see the frustrations beginning to build for Cristiano Ronaldo. Here is Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side. Plenty plays in the box. Plays it towards Semedo. Comes towards Jota. Brilliant save from Peter Galacci. And again, the man who has had 3 or 4 good opportunities in this game misses another opportunity to put Portugal into the lead. And there is going to be a free kick here. And Daniel Pereira's gone down. But we're going to see that chance back again. And it was another opportunity in the match for Diogo Jota. And it was a brilliant ball into him. He takes a pretty decent first touch. And he's got to turn to take the shot on. He does really, really well. But in the end, the shot is just straight at Galacci. And unfortunately, Bruno Fernandes again, just like we saw earlier when Jota had that first chance and Ronaldo was calling for it. He doesn't see Bruno Fernandes, who was completely open. But we're going to get a free kick now for Portugal. 5 minutes left on the clock here of the first half. Hungary 0, Portugal 0. Ball's lobbed in by Guerreiro. Good defending in the end by Adam Shalai, who's done some fantastic work in the first half, both defensively and attacking wise. But can they hold on here? Mistake at the back. But then a poor pass from Jota again, who has not had the best of games in terms of his passing. Not been too bad in front of goal, but passing-wise, he has been a little bit shoddy. And again, Portugal will come forward. It's not been a bad game whatsoever, but it does need a goal, you feel, as we always say. Here is Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side. Plays it to Semedo. Now to William Carvalho, who'll pass it into the midfield. We've seen a hell of a lot of play on that right-hand side. Maybe just becoming a little bit too noticeable for the Hungarian team. Here's Bernardo Silva, though. On that right-hand side again, up against Fiola. Does really well against him. Going to have to play it into the midfield, though, as there's three bodies pushing back for Portugal. Comes back to Bernardo Silva again, who cuts in. Lovely work. Goes round two players. Tries to play it to the edge of the box to Rafael Guerreiro, who doesn't get it. And Portugal will get the ball back again. And there really is no time to breathe in this game. Opportunities left, right and centre. Here's Bernardo Silva. Into Jota. And Portugal will just calm the play down here for a few moments. Carvalho. Into Cristiano Ronaldo, who has had a few little opportunities in this game, but probably a little bit disappointed with his first 45 minutes. He would have probably felt like he deserved a goal by now. Here's Ronaldo. Lovely ball towards Rafael Guerreiro, who's up against Lovrencic, who's doing really well to body him. In the end, Guerreiro tackled by Botka. He thought that was a foul, Guerreiro. He's got the ball back. Lobbed into the box, and it was a brilliant chance for Ronaldo. And a player of his quality has to put the ball in the back of the net. And it was a brilliant bit of work from Guerreiro. Ball lobbed in, and it's an absolute sitter. And it's an awkward bounce in the end, and it's the only thing, in my opinion, that I think you can say that will justify the miss from Cristiano Ronaldo. But you just know that all of the fans, the Messi fans out there, will be certainly putting that miss on Twitter tonight. Because that is an absolute sitter from Cristiano Ronaldo. And as I said, the only thing you can justify was the awkward bounce on the ball, but a player of Ronaldo's quality should be putting that into the back of the net. And whether or not CR7 and his Portuguese side will be ruining that by the end of the game, we'll have to see. But he has missed a sitter before the end of the first half. And they will come forward again, and maybe he's got time here to try and get themselves a goal, and to maybe make sure that that miss isn't going to be the thing that's talked about before half-time. Here is Bruno Fernandes. Ball lobbed into the box towards Jota at the near post. Cleared away by Willy Orban. And back again it'll come for Portugal. As Kyle has asked in the chat, if English finish top of their group, is there a team they would prefer to play? Or should they not be scared of Portugal, France or Germany? I mean, if I was England, I would say, I think the best thing to do is, if you do win the group, is to go out there and not be scared of them. I think that has been our problem in the past. We were saying this when we watched England play against Croatia. I think England as a nation, and as just a nation in general, they've got an awful tendency to go out there and whenever they come up against big teams, they brick themselves, I think is the best way to put it. Long ball over the top though for Bruno Fernandes. Good defending in the end by Fiola. It's going to come out to Bernardo Silva. I will continue a question in a second, Kyle. Ball's lobbed towards Ronaldo in the box. Doesn't get to him. And Portugal will have another chance again as we edge towards a little bit of additional time. 1 minute to be precise. Is there maybe just one more opportunity in the game? It's going to be Roland Salai. And eventually the ball will go out of play for a throw-in for Portugal. But yeah, going back to what you were saying before, I think he's one of those that he's inevitably a case of, I think England have to go out there and not fear, because we are at some point going to have to come up against a big team if you want to win the tournament. So if you can face a big team early on, get the confidence going. If we were to play up against a Portugal, a France or a Germany, then if you were to win that game, that would give you the confidence, no doubt, to go on and push against some of the other bigger teams that we'd have to face at some point. But I know, obviously, as you're saying, can't blame the bounce that. I'm clutching at straws. I really am. I mean, as they were saying on commentary, that's the only thing I think you can say. And as I said myself, it's the only thing you can say with that chance that makes it look less embarrassing for Ronaldo. As the referee blows the whistle for half-time. And in a game which will certainly be frustrating for any Portuguese fan, but if you're a Hungarian fan, and there are 60,000 of them in the stadium today, you'll be absolutely delighted with how the home side have started in this competition. It's 0-0 at half-time, and there have been a few big chances in the match for Portugal. 2 or 3 decent opportunities for Diogo Jota, but the most important chance was right at the very end of the first half for Cristiano Ronaldo, and we saw a sitter miss yesterday by Marcus Berg. We've just seen another one in the game. It was CR7 who missed an absolutely terrible chance in the match. A real sitter from CR7. He should have put the ball into the back of the net. And at half-time of this game, it's Hungary 0, Portugal 0. And somehow, the away side haven't scored. Absolutely baffling, if I'm being honest with you. I think they should have had the ball in the back of the net. And they're going to have to get something very soon, because right now, they haven't, and it's mad. And we have seen Hungary, they had a chance of their own. It was the one opportunity from the free kick. It was Adam Shalai with a glorious opportunity from a free kick. I personally think, just like Ronaldo's chance, he should have done much better with the header, Adam Shalai. But there were a little bit of danger for the back line. Ruben Dias is in the book as well. And at half-time, Hungary 0, Portugal 0. And there is going to be some work to do for Portugal if they want to get themselves a goal, because Hungary do look very good in the back line. And when you look at the stats of the game, and how that 45 minutes has panned out, you can see stats-wise in this game, Hungary have had 1 shot, 1 on target. That was, of course, the one effort from Adam Shalai. Portugal, 5 shots, 2 on target, 67% possession. Not as dominant as Spain were last night, but a very similar performance where they had so many opportunities in the game and they just quite didn't take them. As for Hungary, I think there are certainly things to look happy about in that game. I think that chance that they had was a very good opportunity. They have looked a little bit menacing when coming forward, but I think they need to just make sure, Hungary, that they don't stay too nervous pushing up the pitch. There's been a lot of chances where they've pushed forward and then inevitably they've played the ball back to the halfway line and played cautiously. And I do understand that. I think they are going to be coming to these games just hoping that they can get a point on the board in their group. But look, if they were to go out there and maybe surprise Portugal, you never know. With the way that this game is going, anything can happen. And we'll have to see as we do go into the second half in about 10 to 15 minutes time. But if you are new to the stream, as always, don't forget to leave a like and a subscription on the channel. Of course, we are covering pretty much the majority of Euro 2020 throughout the entirety of the tournament. And it's not just, of course, this game that's on today. We've still got another game coming up a little bit later on today. You can join Kieran D live about 5 or 10 minutes from kickoff. It is the one game I think we've all been waiting for as France take on Germany. That, as I said, is going to be an absolute belter of a match. You can join KD a little bit later on tonight for that. Should be a brilliant, brilliant game indeed. And of course, we have got the second half of Hungary up against Portugal. That is coming up next. We've also got tomorrow's matches as well, which we will talk about in a little moment's time. But if you want to check out our social media, then I do highly recommend doing so. You can check out when we do go live on our channel, as well as checking out the lineups for all of the games throughout the tournament. Our Twitter, is at @the_top corner, and our Instagram is @the_sports corner_. Please do go and follow them. Links are in the description as always, and no doubt Kyle will put them in the chat. So if you want a very quick link to them, then Kyle is always an absolute legend when it comes to the links to our channel. But as I said before, we've got a whole host of other games coming up over the next few days. We've got the second half of Hungary-Portugal. That is coming up in about 10 minutes time. Should be a very interesting second half as Portugal need to go for it. And then, as we said 2 seconds ago, France-Germany will be the next game up in about 2 hours time. You can join KD for that. Finland versus Russia kicks off match day 2 from Group B. You can join Rowan live tomorrow from 5 to 2 for that match. And then night time sees Italy against Switzerland. That's at 10 to 8. You can join KL for that. That is the match in Group A. Should be a brilliant game indeed. We've got Denmark against Belgium. I'll be live on the 17th of June from 10 to 5 for that match. Should be a belter of a game. And then, of course, we might also have Turkey v Wales tomorrow. I just need to find somebody to do that game. It might be KD. I'll have to see on that one if he wants to do that game. But we'll talk about those games tomorrow in a little moment's time. But I've got to say, as Carlos put in the chat, if that was a random player, people saying should be scoring, but it's Ronaldo, and people go, the teeny bounce distracted Ronaldo, the poor wee little pet blessing. I'm just saying what the commentators said on mine. I personally think, as I said, even myself, he should score it. But, as you said, any other player with that opportunity, we saw it last night with Marcus Berg, who had a very similar situation, was towards the near post, which makes it even worse. He should have scored. He should have scored. And as I said, that's the only thing I can say, and that makes it justifiable for him to miss it. And as I said, I'm clutching at straws for something to make it justifiable. He should score it. You know, any player, apart from Ronaldo, would have put that in the back of the net. Even Ronaldo on his normal day would, but it's staggering that he missed it in the end. But let's take a look at tomorrow's fixtures. We've got 3 games coming up tomorrow. I'm not going to be doing any of them. I'm actually out tomorrow, so unfortunately, I'm not going to be there to cover those matches. I will be watching them though. But tomorrow we've got Finland coming up against Russia. Of course, Finland coming off the back of a really good victory in very different circumstances, of course, against Denmark in Matchday 1. Russia, however, coming off the back of a very disappointing defeat against Belgium, of course. That is going to be a really big game, because if Finland can get themselves a point, then you would assume they're probably going to be going through to the next round. I would say 4 points will be more than enough to make it through to the next round. In the last tournament, 3 points were actually enough for 2 teams out of the 4 that finished third. So you would assume 4 points would be well and truly more than enough. However, Russia desperately do need to go and get a win on the board, because if they don't get a win, or a point at the very least, then I think we will be saying goodbye to Russia, and they will be out of Euro 2020 and the first team to be booted out. It won't be official, but probably likely, especially with the goal difference. Belgium banging in a few goals against them. So that is a really big game tomorrow. You can join Rowan for that, probably about 5 or 10 minutes before kickoff. Should be a very, very good game indeed. Turkey versus Wales, that's at 5 PM. As I said, nobody as for now doing it, although I believe we might get KD or KL, one of the two might be on it. Probably KD, because KL's covering the nighttime game. But Turkey v Wales, again Turkey, coming off the back of a very disappointing 3-0 defeat to Italy in their first match of the tournament. And Wales somehow clinching a draw against Switzerland. That one should be a very interesting game. Again, very similar scenario for Turkey like Russia. If they don't get a point in that match, then I think they will be booted out of the tournament. However, if they were to get a draw, then it will make that group very interesting, because that would put Turkey on a point. It would put Wales on 2 points. And then, of course, Italy against Switzerland. That is the nighttime game from Group A. That's at 8 PM UK time. Probably kickoff will be live about 10 minutes before the match starts. That would make the group very interesting, because Italy will be the favourites to win that match against Switzerland. Of course, a very good side, Switzerland, on the day, but it's not going to be an easy match whatsoever. And I really do think there is a potential opportunity for just maybe this group to be really wide open, because if there were a draw in that match between Turkey and Wales, we'd have Switzerland on a point, Wales on 2 points, and Turkey on a point as well. So we could see that maybe go down to the last game of Group A, but we'll have to see. As I said, I would assume all 3 games will be covered tomorrow. I'm going to find out with KD if he can cover that game for me. I think he will. I believe he's off work. And if he does want to, then we'll have all 3 games covered on the channel live. And sadly, I don't think I'll be available for them. Maybe for Italy, Switzerland. But tomorrow, I think it'll be a day for me to go out and have some drinks. Yes, I'm going to go and have some drinks and watch the Turkey-Wales game in the glorious sun. So that should be very good indeed. Really looking forward to that. But I'm going to take a quick break for the moment. Of course, we've got the second half of Hungary-Portugal coming up in just a few moments' time. So do grab yourself a drink, and we'll be back in a few minutes for the second half. We'll go through the benches as well, but we will be back in about, I would say, 5 minutes for kick-off. Back in a few moments. And we are back for the second half of Hungary against Portugal. Thank you very much for those of you guys and girls, of course, that have waited for the second half. Thank you very much. Obviously, a nice little break there before we get on with the action once again. And if you did miss the first half, where have you been? It hasn't had any goals in it yet, but it has been a very, very interesting game. Lots of opportunities, including a certain CR7 missing one of the most... Well, I've got to be honest, it's a sitter, isn't it? It's sitter. It's a real sitter. We thought we had a bad one yesterday with Berg. We had a second one today. CR7 missing a vital chance to put Portugal into the lead. But we are about to get underway with the second half. Fantastic, of course, that I can actually say. We can't spoil anything because I'm actually watching it on live TV, so we're all good. And hopefully we will see a much different and much more improved Portugal performance in this second half, because I'll be honest with you, I really do think that's first half, as much as they had lots of opportunities to push forward, they just didn't do good enough when it got to the final third, Portugal, and way too many times was it just poor opportunities and really poorly missed chances. As we do get underway with the second half just now, I'll get the timer back on your screens. So looking at what you guys have been saying in the chat while I was gone, Daz is in the building. How are we doing, Daz? Welcome along to the stream. Hope you're good as always, my friend. He's asked, is he coming home? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. And then he did put his prediction in. Luckily enough, no goals, so he can still predict now. 2-0 Portugal, Ronaldo and Jota both to score. Of course, we haven't had any subs in the second half, so we're all good, of course, still good to go. But yeah, second half underway now. And the real question is, can Hungary get themselves something in this game? Or will Portugal, of course, get the expected win? It'd be incredible to see Hungary get something from this match, but we'll have to find out. As Kyle says, I think Hungary, not 100% sure. You need to ask him if he's still there. I think, yeah, Kyle is supporting Hungary for this game, because I know he put it at the very start. He was backing Adam Shalai because of Kieran D. But Kian is in the building. How are you doing, my friend? Hope you're all good. Welcome along, mate. Long time no see. Hopefully you've been enjoying the Euros so far. You've put your prediction in the chat. 1-1 for this game. That'd be quite good, actually. To make things very interesting for the game tonight, especially knowing that Portugal will have dropped points. France and Germany will probably feel even more hungry to get that win, to be in the driving seat of the group, or else we'd be in a position where all four teams are on a point. But we're going to get a corner here for Portugal. Bruno Fernandes lobs it into the box. Pepe gets a header, and it's a good save from Galacci. Gets his header down at the left side of the near post, and the RB Leipzig goalkeeper does really, really well in the end to get a touch on the ball and push it away from his goal. And as we said before, Galacci's certainly going to be busy today. And Pepe knows he was so close to opening the scoring, and it was a good punch in the end from Galacci. Not a great deal of power on the header, which makes it a little bit easier for the Leipzig goalkeeper to get the touch in the end, but he did very well. And it's another good save from a man who has got plenty of experience at the highest level of football. Of course, he used to play for Hull City, as KL has told us many times before when we have watched Galacci play. Former Liverpool man as well, and has been around the block and has been brilliant, hasn't he, in Germany? Seen him many times before in the Champions League, especially when they made the latter stages and made the semi-finals last year against Paris Saint-Germain. As Keane saying, Johnny Clayton with the win of the Premier League, he did indeed. Was fantastic, weren't it, that night? Brilliant, brilliant night indeed. Although I've just had to sell my tickets off, I think, for the match play, because I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm trying to sell them off, which is a real shame. Gutted about that, but does mean then I get a bit of free time to put my feet up. So I guess beggars can't be choosers. As Portugal get the ball back here. As Russ is in the building. How are you doing, mate? He's put Joshua Ives at the back post to score for the Millers. Maybe one day I'll play for them. Highly doubtful. How are you doing, Russ? Hope you're all good, mate. Hope you're all good. Hopefully you've had a very enjoyable time with the Euros so far, because it's been a bit of a slow burner. I'll have to admit. The early sections, the first few days, were a bit of a slow burner, but I do personally think it's not been a bad tournament, has it, so far? Desas, who's doing the big match on Friday? Me! He's fucking shit. I will tell you that for sure. If we are back, though, apologies for that. As I said, just boot me off again. It's strange. It's weird. That's the second time it's happened since I've come back. And the first time it happened was yesterday. So I've got no idea why it happened in the end. But apologies. We should be back now. And hopefully we're all good to go again. I haven't missed anything. Of course, there's no goals that have gone in since. But I do apologise about that. Basically, don't get Virgin Wi-Fi. It is fucking shite. It's absolutely useless. Terrible. But while we were gone, Russ said, all good, mate. I've watched all the games so far and worked on some of them tomorrow. Some of them too. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's been good, hasn't it? It's been good tournaments so far. Keen says, I stream in Wales tomorrow. As far as I'm aware, I'm not covering it because I'm actually going to be out watching it in a nice bar, soaking up the sun for what is, I think, the last day of warm weather. But I think if anybody's covering it, it might be Kieran D tomorrow. I need to ask him to find out. But yeah, I'll obviously it will be covered by someone at the very least. I'm going to try and find out who's going to cover it. More likely KD than anyone because we've got Rowan and Kieran L covering the match. I might even ask Will, actually, if Will wants to do a game as well because it'd be nice to get a few people on board as well. Maybe even Adam. But yeah, apologies about that. Virgin Wi-Fi should be back now. All good to go. 53 minutes on the clock. Hungary 0, Portugal 0. And again, I just think these last few minutes or so, Portugal looking a little bit dangerous. Not a great deal happening. It's been a little bit quiet in terms of chances. I do think they need to do something in the game as ball's lofted long towards Bernardo Silva. Doesn't get towards him in the end. And again, I think Portugal might probably change something up when we get around the hour mark. As Kins asked, who do you think will win? If that's the game tomorrow, I think it's a tough one to call in it, that match. It's a really tough one. As I said, I still think Turkey are a very good side. You know, there's nothing wrong or nothing bad about losing to that Italy team because they are really, really good. And I think they are getting underestimated by a lot of players and teams. As I very nearly poured lemonade all over myself. I'm going to guess a 2-2 draw for that match. I'm going to go down the middle and play it safe. I do think that's a match where, because there's so much on the line, you know, I was saying before, obviously before you win the stream, it's one of those matches where if Turkey and Wales were to draw, that group would be completely wide open in terms of who finishes second and third, because Italy are, of course, expected to win against Switzerland tomorrow, so they could go up to 6 points and they'd be through to the next round pretty much. They'd be guaranteed to go through to the next round. As for the other teams, obviously Turkey and Wales were to draw, and then Switzerland were to lose, then it would be an absolute dogfight for who would finish second. But that should be a good game tomorrow. I'm going to be out to watch it. Going to be having some nice food, some drinks, and watching the game. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow under the nice, lovely sun. Sasha asking, where's the yellow card? Don't know, referee. As I think you said earlier, Sasha, been very quiet with the yellow card so far. Been very quiet indeed. But a comment I did see before, the Animal Channel, welcome along to the stream. Hope you're all good, buddy. Who do you think is the best veteran player, 35 and above, who is currently playing? Mine is Gianluigi Buffon. Good question, that. Very good question. As the master and the connoisseur of old age pensioner players, which I absolutely love veteran players in football. I've got so many players that I absolutely adore that are of an old age. Quagliarella of Sampdoria is one of them. I love. A brilliant player on his day. I would have said him if it was last year when he won the, or nearly won the Golden Boot. Gignac of Tigres in Mexico. Absolutely love him as well. I think he's a class player. I don't know if Giroud's 35. I think he's 34. But when Giroud hits 35, then Giroud will be in that category of one of my favourite players. In fact, I'm doing the research now. I'm pretty sure Giroud's 34, isn't he? Yeah, he is. He's 34. So unfortunately, I can't put Giroud down as my favourite player above 35, or the best at least. But he will be in that category soon. I would probably say for me, in terms of best player above 35, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. You might have to give me time to think, but there's a few of the names. There's a chance here for Hungary to come forward. Ball at the edge of the box. Chance for taken on by Salah, and it's straight at the keeper. And it was a shot that was there to be hit. But it's a comfortable, decent save in the end by Rui Patricio. And a chance for Portugal to break. It's Ronaldo into Jota. Tried to get it back to Ronaldo again after a poor first touch. And, Yeah, I mean, even Pepe at 38. Burak Yilmaz as well. He's another one for me. That has been incredible at an old age in Lille, of course. But Buffon, of course, is supposed to be going back to Parma, isn't he? From what I've heard in the rumour mill. He's supposed to be back to Parma again in Serie B next season, which I think is a beautiful fairy tale story. A really, really beautiful fairy tale story. Can't wait to see that happen. And a quality keeper for Parma as well. Hopefully we'll get to see him in Serie A again with them. Of course, Ibrahimovic as well, 40 years of age. Is another one. Ronaldo, I think he's 36, is he? 35? One of the two? Can't remember off the top of my head. There's a bit of an exchange going on right now between Adam Shalai and Ruben Dias. Bit of touching and argy-bargy going on here. I don't know what Dias and Shalai are complaining about, but it's something that has really rattled Adam Shalai. And he's not happy with something, as Danilo Pereira was trying to get involved, has been told to walk away. And of course, we know Ruben Dias is on a yellow card, so he needs to watch out. Adam Shalai, quite clearly frustrated, but the referee has talked to them. And play will continue with a Hungary throw-in. And I think they're going to go for the long throw-in. So long throw-in taken. Lovely touch by Adam Shalai, who tries to flick a ball into the box. There were minuscule calls for handball, but obviously nothing really given in the end, as Portugal now have the chance to break, but it doesn't come to anything. And here's an opportunity for Hungary to come forward again. It's Roland Salai. Tries to flick a ball into the box, and well, I think had the ball maybe gone in the back of the net, there would have been calls for a handball for Fiola. And the ball will go back to Rui Patricio in the end, and a chance for things to be calmed down. But I'll tell you something. You know, we're 15 minutes into the second half here. I've got to say, I would be very shocked if there aren't a few changes for Portugal soon. They've got a plethora of players on the bench who can make a difference. And for those of you wondering, that's the bench for Portugal today. You know, they've got Pedro Gonçalves, João Felix, Rafa Silva, Sergio Oliveira. They've got so many good players they could bring on at some point to make a difference in this game. But Nelson Semedo, with a cross into the box, very nearly stumbled by Peter Galacci. But in the end, gets it into his hands. And we're about to hit the hour mark, and it's still 0-0. As Keane asked, did you see what happened to Ericsson? Yes, I did. It was awful. It wasn't nice to watch at all. At all. And then when it's been covered on the channel as well, you know, that got pretty much, that stream was cut off very quickly with what happened. It wasn't nice. Long ball gone to Roland Salai. Not going to get to him in the end, and Pepe will get the ball back. As William Carvalho has gone down here. Not actually going to stop the play. Don't know what's going on, to be honest, there for a second, as something had been thrown onto the pitch. So someone just chucked out for a second. As Channel saying, loving the choice as Raul Albiol also on my list. Yes, he's had a brilliant season, as he is. A chance here for Jota, who's inside the box. Good work from Adam Nagy. Does really well. Gets the ball back. Or Noige, as they're pronouncing him. I think that's probably the best way to pronounce him. As Portugal get the ball back again. Here's Nelson Semedo. Ball lofted long. Doesn't get to anyone in the end. And how old's Di Maria these days? I'm going to have a look now and see how old Angel Di Maria is. Because he must be getting towards 35. 33? Yeah, 33 years of age. I mean, he's got to be up there as a brilliant shout for one of the veteran players in football that have done well. Carl saying, I know he's not world class, one of the best, but Wes Hoolahan for me did brill for me when he played for Republic of Ireland. He's not even done bad in the lower leagues as well. Is he at Cambridge? I think, because I swear he's had a bloody good season there. Because all I kept hearing constantly was his name and plaudits for him. But, you know, even at the ripe old age of, I think he's 36, isn't he? 36, 37. He's doing very well in the lower divisions of football. But yeah, Raul Albiol's a very good shout. Had a quality season for Villarreal. One of those players that just seems to, as he gets older, gets better. I mean, I would put Ribery up there, but I don't think he had a great season, to be honest with you, with Fiorentina. They struggled massively this year. Sirigu is one I put up there as well. If we can, of course, we've got to include keepers in there because Buffon's in there. Sirigu is a good shout. Although saying that, how old is Sirigu? because even he might be 34 thinking about it. He is as well. He's not even 35. God's sake. As there's a ball lofted into the box. Gets it towards Bruno Fernandes. And a pretty comfortable save in the end by Galacci. Keen's asked who do you think's winning on Italy versus Wales? I'll tell you something. Italy. And that's no disrespect to Wales, but that Italy side is a real force to be reckoned with. 28 games unbeaten they are, Italy. And they're not going to get beaten easily. They've got a very good attack, but there might be a chance here for Hungary to come forward. It's Roland Salai on the left-hand side. Hasn't got many players with him. Adam Salai's one of them in the box. What can Salai do? Plays the ball off in the end. And Schaefer tries to go forward. And in the end, it's going to be a goal kick. And I thought for a second that just maybe we were going to have a chance for maybe a corner for Hungary. But it actually comes off Schaefer in the end and goes out for a goal kick. And that's a real shame indeed. But yeah, back to what I was saying before. I think Italy have got a very good side. I think they are one of the underappreciated teams in the tournament. 28 games unbeaten is something, regardless of the teams that they've played, is something to not look and not be surprised about, because they've got them going really well. Mancini's got them going to a very, very good system, and I think what Turkey have got are a very good balanced side. They've got a good defence with two world-class centre-backs of the last generation. They've got midfielders galore, which is what Italy are known for. And then the front line, they've got Insigne, who's had a credible season. Immobile, who's one of the top strikers in world football over the last few years. And then they've got the likes of Berardi and Bernardeschi, who've all had fantastic seasons themselves. So I do think that Italy are going to be a tough team to play against. Carl's saying, yeah, 39 Houlihan is. That's mad, isn't it? Absolutely crazy to think that. 39 years of age. Going to stop for a second, though, because Nelson Semedo on the right wing here. Now Jota. Into Bernardo Silva. Played to William Carvalho at the edge of the box. Was going to go for long-range effort. Plays it towards Bruno Fernandes at the edge of the box. Tries to get it back to Carvalho again. It's eventually cleared away. And another chance for Portugal. Goes wide of the mark. And it's Botka this time who clears it away from his goal. 25 minutes left and still no changes for either side. Here's Semedo on the right wing. And a poor ball into the box that will go out of play for a corner. As Sasha's asked, what do you think of Copa America so far? I got to watch the games at 10 o'clock. I've got to say, that free kick from Messi last night was brilliant. But I do worry for Argentina because they've got a brilliant attack. A pretty alright defence, I'd say, but they always just don't seem to click when I watch them. And that's the most worrying part. And that Chilean side, missing a few players. Sanchez missing, of course, because of injuries. But I think they did alright last night, Chile. But we're going to get the first change of the game. And Andreas Schaefer comes off. And Loic Nego comes onto the pitch. And I think he's one of the players, actually, if you play Euro Fantasy Football, I think he was one of the most picked players because of his value. So Loic Nego comes onto the pitch. And there's going to be a chance from the corner for Portugal. Ball's lobbed towards Ronaldo, cleared away in the end. A very comfortable clearance for the Hungarian side. And with 25 minutes left, can Loic Nego maybe be the man to make the difference in this game? I think he was valued at 4 million on Fantasy Football, which was the cheapest player. And he's on the pitch now, so no doubt there'll be 40% of Euro players hoping he can do something in this match. And just maybe get himself a goal or something, as Portugal are going to get another corner. But yeah, I like Copa America. I think the only problem for me is I don't tend to stay up too late. So like the 1 o'clock games, I don't get a watch, which is a shame. But it should be quite an exciting tournament, Copa America. Obviously, Brazil and Argentina are the favourites. Colombia, Chile, Uruguay, 3 of the very good sides that could all win it. As the corner's been bizarrely taken short, but then played out to the halfway line. Really, really weird corner in the end. And it's actually going to play for a goal kick as the ball was lofted long to Diaz. And the centre-back, Shalai, gets a slight touch, but the referee's not giving it as a corner. And in the end, what a waste of a free kick, a corner, sorry, that was. Keane saying Wales will probably qualify because Wales have got a good team. They've got Bale, Ramsey, Moore, James Davis. But the problem for me is we were saying this before when we opened up and we talked about that group on the first night, and when me and Kale covered the second game of the tournament. It is again another group for me where there is one standout side in Italy, and just like the Spain group, there's 3 teams, all of a very good standard, that could all qualify and could all finish bottom. I think Turkey, as we said before, the Italy game was very hard to realistically say anything. Bruno goes from range, and I thought for a second we were about to see a Bruno Fernandes long-range goal. But again, it's that man, Galacci, who I think gets the slightest of touches on the ball. And a brilliant save from a brilliant effort. And Portugal get another corner. And I think... Are we going to see any Portugal changes? Now, referee just having a talking to Pepe. And I think it's Fiola as well they're having a talking to. So, corner going to be lobbed in here by Bernardo Silva. Played short. Lofted in by Bruno Fernandes. And in the end, doesn't come to anything. Hungary, defending very well. Again. I think we're going to be saying that a lot in the next 20 minutes. And the ball's played all the way back to Rui Patricio. Animal Channel saying, what do you think of Hungary's centre-back, Willy Orban? I think he's quality. I'm a big follower of the Bundesliga. He's a great centre-back for Leipzig. He is. He just doesn't get to play enough because of all the injuries he's had. Which is a shame, because I actually do think he's a very good centre-back. A very good depth player. I think depending on what Leipzig do next season, obviously after losing Upamecano and I think Canate to Liverpool and Bayern, it's going to be one of those where I think Orban might actually get a little bit more game time in the team, dependent on what Leipzig do, because obviously they've got Gvardiol coming back next season, who could play as a centre-back and as a left-back. They've obviously got Mukiele still. They've got Klosterman as well. I think they've got to say, I think Leipzig are probably one of the sides in world football that have got incredible depth. As Salah takes an effort on, and I thought for a second, had he have got a bit of a better connection, we were about to see a Hungary goal, and it was Roland Salah, and it was an awkward shot to take on, but he hits it on the volley, and in the end it goes wide of the mark, and a little bit of a moment of nerves there, you could say, for Portugal, who just for the second switched off. Long ball towards Bruno Fernandes, who's inside the box, tries to play it towards Ronaldo, and again, it's just a little weak. I mean, Kane saying, did you watch Euro 2016? Wales were the best. Yes, I did, but that was 5 years ago. A long, long time has passed since then. Unfortunately, as much as Wales have got a good team, they could do it again. They could. You know, I'm not saying that they can't do it, but 5 years is a long time, and it's a very different team, you know. Gone are the days of the Hal Robson Carnews and the Ashley Williams of the Welsh side. It's a very different team, very quick team. But is it good enough to go to the same distance as before? I don't know. But I can see getting out of the group. I can. And I mean, I'm a little bit gutted that Scotland or England weren't in a group a little bit higher up, because I would have loved to have seen a Scotland v Wales or an England v Wales in the knockout stages. But sadly not, as we are going to get a change for Portugal. First change made. Injection of pace coming into the team as Rafa Silva comes onto the pitch. And unfortunately, it's not been the best game, has it, for Portugal here? And on a night where France and Germany play, don't forget, that game is coming up at 8 o'clock tonight. You can join KD live about 5 or 10 minutes before kick-off for that game. They really do need to get a goal here, do they? Really need to get a goal, because as time is beckoning on, it's not looking good, is it, for Portugal? As Bernardo Silva was the man who came off the pitch. Ball lofted long towards Roland Salah, who doesn't get the touch in the end. And I tell you something, as this game is going on, I really do feel like maybe Hungary here might actually feel like they can get something from this game. And I mean, if they were to get something, they would do something that Sweden couldn't last night. And it was quite clear. We knew from about the 70th minute that Sweden were just going to defend and take the point. But with the way that Hungary are playing right now, they've had a few little opportunities here and there. They will definitely feel like they can go out there and get themselves maybe a goal on the board. And it'd be incredible if they did. Be absolutely incredible, because it would actually put them into a position where just maybe they'd surprise a few people and make this group very interesting. As Adam Shalai is fouled, and he's going to get a free kick here for Hungary. As looking what you guys have been saying in the chat, Sasha saying Brazil is his favourite nation, of course. And then Daz asked a question for you: who scored our first goal of the last Euros? Oh Jesus, I can't even remember the last Euro group we had, to be honest with you. I just remember us being knocked out by Iceland and being very miserable. That's about as memorable as that tournament got. But there's a mistake at the back here. Rafa Silva though is giving the ball away, and now a chance here for Hungary to drive forward. It's Nego. Lots of space on the right-hand side. Maybe an opportunity for Lovrencic. Lobs the ball into the box. Comes towards the near post. Cleared away by Pepe. And it was the header by Shalai, the centre-back, which brought some anxiety to this Portuguese side. And again, Hungary. They must feel here that they can get something in this game. Here is Kleinheisler. Taking on his man. Lobs the ball into the box. And for a second, I thought Shalai, the centre-back, was going to get a touch on the ball, but he didn't notice the cross. And in the end, he just wasn't able to get a touch because he wasn't aware of the situation. And had the other Shalai, the striker, been in that position, we could have genuinely been saying it was 1-0 to Hungary. But this game has come to life in the last few minutes. As Hungary, I really do feel here, even with 29% of the ball, must feel like they can get something in this game. It's been a very good watch. And if they were to get something, then well, that puts the cat amongst the pigeons, doesn't it? As Keane saying he's still got 8 from 2016, which is still a good amount. It's about, well, it's not a quarter, but it's a little less, isn't it? He's giving me a clue. Forward from 2016. We had Wales in that group. I know that, because we had that game, and of course Sturridge scored. I think Vardy scored in that game. But I'm going to stop for a second because Roland Salah's taking on his man. Goes down, free kick for Hungary, and Pepe, I think, might go into the book here. He won't. But frustration's beginning to build here for Portugal. And I will say, was it Jamie Vardy who scored, or Kane? One of the two. Daz? Can't be Sturridge. Or was it Sturridge? I can't even remember who we played the first game. We had Wales. Did we have Slovakia? Who knows? As I said, Euro 2016 is out of the memory. I can't remember anything from that tournament. But free kick here for Hungary. And the 60,000 fans must surely be starting to believe here that they can steal a point, or maybe even steal 3 points away from this Portugal side, who have not looked good today. Ball lofted over the top towards Nego. As Shalai takes on an effort on the half volley, and well, I mean, if that went in the back of the net, I think KD, I don't know if he's in the chat right now, he would have gone absolutely mental had that goal have gone in. Lovely chest down. And he took it on the volley. Maybe not as much power as he'd like to get, and of course not enough curve. But in the end, another chance. Goes wide of the mark. As England, Slovakia, Wales, Russia. See, I have no vivid memory of the England-Russia game. That might have ended 0-0. England-Wales, of course, we got the win. That was not a memorable game for you, Kian. Obviously, we lost to Iceland in the knockouts. In terrible fashion. That game was set, honestly, for misery. Even when Rooney put the penalty in, you still felt like that was a terrible game for England. You knew something was going to happen. Here is Rafa Silva, though. Lovely ball towards Ronaldo. Tries to take the touch. There are screams from Ronaldo for handball. He is absolutely screaming at the referee for a handball on Fiola. This is obviously going to get checked. Again, I think it's maybe a little bit too close. But he does hit the hand quite clearly. Now, with the way that this tournament's gone, of course, they haven't given it in the end, but with the way that the tournament's gone, when the ball has hit the hand at close range, then it's one of those where I think usually they've not given it as a handball, and they've given the benefit of the doubt to the player, of course, with it being too close to them. Nothing being given in the end. And, of course, Ronaldo, who was absolutely raging at the referee there, finds himself without a penalty. As we are going to see 2 changes for Hungary in a moment, 14 minutes left. And they are actually going to check handball here. So play has been stopped, and this is going to be checked by VAR. I mean, as I said, it hits the hand. But whether they class this as deliberate or not, The answer is no. It's going to be a 2 set changes for Hungary and no penalty for Portugal there. So it's going to be Roland Salah who comes off the pitch, and Watchalong comes on up top. And then we'll have the other change as well. And it's going to be Saiger who comes onto the pitch. And then coming off, with 13 minutes left of this game, is going to be Klein Heisler, who I've got to say today has had a brilliant game. Laszlo Klein Heisler done really well indeed, and he comes off. And David Shiga comes onto the pitch. Whether or not maybe we see him make some magic in the game, we will have to find out. But no penalty given. Free kick to Hungary. Ball lofted into the box. Rui Patricio has to punch. It's going to come out to Loic Nego, who clears the ball away. And it will come back to Hungary again. Ball headed long. Trying to get it towards Saiger, who can't get the touch in the end. And for a moment there, they've allowed an opportunity for Portugal to go forward. But that's brilliant work from Saiger. Just brilliant to come back and defend. As Dazza said, have you heard the news about Dean Henderson? Yes, I have. I've got to keep up to date with it. My Twitter, honestly, is always full of football news pages. So, yes, any news, I probably know it. But 12 minutes left here, 0-0. Keane saying, I know all that because Wales won group and got to semi-finals and lost because Ramsey wasn't in it. Yeah, that semi-final against Portugal was a shame, weren't it? Ronaldo scored, didn't he, with a header, I think, if my memory is correct. But to get to a semi-final is certainly not a bad achievement. And again, just like how England made it there, I think a lot of Welsh fans were probably dreaming of a final. And it's an incredible achievement, even better achievement than England to make it there. Because obviously, at that point, and even now, I think obviously Wales haven't got as many world-class players in the squad. So to make it to a semi-final is an incredible achievement. And to beat Belgium as well, in the way that you guys did, with Vokes and, of course, the brilliant Ashley Williams, is unbelievable. 10 minutes left on the clock, though, or 11 to be precise. Still 0-0. William Cavalier, long ball into the box, tries to get it towards Ronaldo, who doesn't get the touch in the end. And Lovrencic will clear his lines. And I'll tell you something, fair play to Hungary. They're playing with no fear. I think there's a lot of teams at this stage, like we saw with Sweden yesterday, that would probably want to sit back and defend. But there's going to be an opportunity here. Might be a chance to push forward. Saiger! It's in! And just like that, it's offside! No! And Saiger had the ball in the back of the net, but it's offside for Hungary. And that was the chance for dreams to be made for Hungary, and the linesman has ruined it, and this will be checked by VAR, and it was a lovely opportunity. It was like Nego who played the ball forward, and it was a brilliant opportunity, and he puts it into the back of the net, and just at the moment where Saiger puts the ball into the back of the net, it's not been given, and it won't count. And he's offside. And then we'll see 2 changes now for Portugal. Renato Sanchez coming on. And we'll see another change as well. I think João Felix is coming on. So Carvalho off for Sanchez. And Andre Silva is the man who's going to come on. Brilliant season at Frankfurt. And Diogo Jota comes off. And that was the chance for Hungary to score what would have been the most unbelievable goal. And they unfortunately have it ruled out for offside. And that will be the moment now. And as I said, they played with no fear. And literally as I said that, they put the ball in the back of the net. They have played with no fear. And I think they even know themselves that they could probably go and get a winning goal in this game with how it's panning out. But will that give the confidence now for Portugal to go and get that winning goal? Here's Loic Nego, who's been brilliant since he's come on. Ball from Lovrencic, tries to play it to the path of Adam Shalai, who can't get the touch. And in the end, unfortunately, Portugal get the ball back. And as Carlos said, that linesman is a joke, clearly offside, put your damn flag up. Hate that so-called rule. It's a shame you leave the fans celebrating. And even I thought for a second, because I was looking in the chat, that it was actually a chance. Oh. And that's what dreams are made of. And unfortunately, it's been taken away. Rightly so, but I thought we were going to get the goal. But 9 minutes left here. It's going to be Renato Sanchez. Plays the ball into the path of Rafael Guerreiro. Laurentic tries to clear the ball away. And it is actually going to go out of play for a goal kick. Can they get a point or 3? Can they do it, Hungary, as Nego's gone into the book? I think because of the complaints to the linesman. And I mean, he didn't actually say anything to the linesman, but he did go straight up to his face. But yeah, he's gone into the book. And that's the yellow card for Loic Nego as Hungary look to come forward again. They will feel now that they could maybe do something in this game. Adam Schaller with a tackle. And in the end, it's actually going to be a free kick for Portugal. And what has been, and again, another good game. I think we've had a fair few games which have been 0-0 for large parts. But another good 0-0 match. I really do feel like it's a very spirited performance from Hungary. And again, very similar to last night. I think it's one of those games where they definitely deserve a point out of it. I think it'd be very harsh if Portugal were to get something in this match and take it away. Because they've had lots of chances. And here's Loic Nego. And it might be an opportunity here for Sean to come forward. He's up against Pepe. But he just can't get past him. And Pepe is able to play the ball back to Rui Patricio. And again, a moment of nerves. As Portugal, of course, pushing everybody forward. Allowing space for Hungary to push into. Here is Rafael Guerreiro. What can the Dortmund fullback do? Going to play it into the midfield. It's going to go all the way to Nelson Semedo on the right-hand side. Now to Bruno Fernandes. Here's Renato Sanchez. Of course, had a brilliant season at Lille. Winning the title in Ligue 1 with France, in France even. Rafa Silva. Ball flicked into the box. And it's in. And just like that, Portugal finally have the goal. And it's Rafael Guerreiro, the man who I said a moment ago could bring some magic to the game. And Portugal break the deadlock with 6 minutes remaining. And with all of the hopes and dreams that Hungary were going to get themselves the goal, it's a stroke of fortune for the Dortmund man. And they'll take it. And from moments of joy to moments of pain, Portugal take the lead. And it is such a wicked deflection in the end on the original shot that ricochets the ball into the back of the net. And it ricochets, I think, off Willy Orban. It's so unlucky for them. And just like that, Portugal finally get the goal that they feel that they'll have deserved in this game with how they've played. And of course now the Hungary players will feel so disappointed with this. And literally as Kyle, I think this is the second time now we've had this, just as it was 0-0, he put, this will be a good result for France and Germany. Never mind, Portugal scored. I was right in this. And well, Hungary have only got 5 minutes now to try and get something in this game. Of course, they're going to push forward players now to see if they can get it. But here's Renato Sanchez. Takes on his man, does well, somehow keeps the ball. And now a chance here for Andre Silva, who's in the box, and he's gone down, and there will be calls for a penalty. And a penalty shall be for Portugal. And just like that, it goes from bad to worse for Hungary because Orban, who got the deflection on the ball, then gets booked, gives away a penalty, and now Portugal have the chance to double their lead on a game which unfortunately turns to heartbreak for Hungary. And it's so unfortunate, and in the end it was a right decision in the end to give that as a penalty. He's got the hand of Silva. And in the end, it's a chance now for Portugal to really seal the deal from the spot. And if there's one man who's going to take the penalty, it is that man, CR7. It's not been his greatest game. He missed a sitter in the first half. And I'll tell you something, if he misses this, it would be a Ronaldo disaster class in terms of a performance. But he's got a chance to, even on one of his worst games, bag a goal. And he's up against Galacci. He's had a brilliant match. But can he keep the ball out? And a chance to make history, to become the first player to score in 5 European Championships and to become the European Championship all-time top goal scorer. It's CR7, and it is CR7 to become the biggest all-time top scorer in the European Championships. And just like that, Portugal will be taking the 3 points home. And that will be that. And so unfortunate for Hungary, who have played so well in this match. But in the end, once again, as they did last time when they were in the Euros, they've had to fight hard. And they get themselves that second goal. 2-0 to Portugal. And that is his 105th in 175 games for Portugal. Unbelievable record for one of the greatest players of all time. And it was a quality penalty into the right-hand corner. Galacki had already gone down to the left-hand side. He was not going to save it. And in the end, CR7 becomes again another record breaker. And unfortunately, 60,000 fans in the stadium go from joy earlier to not complete silence, but to disappointment. And it's a shame because I really did think we were going to have the chance. I really did. And we are going to have another change here for Portugal. João Moutinho is going to come onto the pitch. Bruno Fernandes comes off. And of course, we know now that Portugal will be taking the points home, which will be very good to see for them. Of course, they'll be delighted with that. But now, is there going to be time for any more goals in this game? 2-0, 2 minutes left on the clock. We might get a little bit of additional time because of the stoppages in play for VAR and the disallowed Hungary goal. But this is the result that Portugal need. Of course, it looked for a few moments, as Kyle was putting earlier, that this was going to go into the hands of France and Germany, and we were going to be in a very good position for them. But now, Portugal are doing all that they need to get the 3 points on the board as we enter the final minute and 15 seconds. And it's a real shame because they did deserve something from this match, Hungary. But they have just gone and completely broken this Hungary side. And now it could maybe get a little bit worse. Although saying that, here's Adam Shalai on the ball, trying to get around his man. Good defending from Dylan Pereira. And there might be a chance here for Portugal to get a third. Dylan Pereira going to hit the ball long. Plays it to the right-hand side to Rafa Silva. And he's touching the end. Just can't keep the ball in play. And it will go out of play for a Hungary throw-in. As we did have another change, actually. Varga, who's just taken the throw-in, came onto the pitch for Fiola. Who, again, before those goals, had a very good match. Here's Saiger. What can he do here? Ball lofted into the box. Doesn't get to anyone in the end. It's going to be Loic Nego who's on the ball. Goes in with a tackle. Very risky tackle in the end. Was on a yellow card, but was a good tackle. But Portugal get the ball back as we enter the final 10 seconds of normal time. Don't forget, do not go anywhere tonight because you can join KD live from about 5 or 10 minutes before kickoff. The final game of match day 1. France up against Germany. What a game that should be. You can join him from about 10 to 8 for that match. What a game that will be. Should be an absolute belter of a match. As Kian asked, did you watch Poland? Yes, I've watched every game of the tournament so far, and I will be doing that for as long as I possibly can. Should be a few good games to us. We're into the 5 minutes of additional time. And well, it'll be 5 minutes that realistically I think Hungary will not want. And there might even be a chance here for a third. Here's Andres Silva on the ball. As we were saying earlier, had a brilliant season at Frankfurt. Really did well to get them into the Europa League. And no doubt, I think we'll be seeing a lot of him in the future in a Portugal shirt. A real star talent. Here's Renato Sanchez. Into Rafa Silva, who has certainly made a difference in the game since coming on as a substitute. 2004, by the way, is when João Moutinho made his debut. Oh, sorry, Ronaldo made his debut. I thought it was Moutinho then. Mad, isn't it? 17 years ago, Ronaldo. Crazy. And he's been playing in 5 of these tournaments. Just shows how long he's been playing for. Here's Rafa Silva, though. What can they do here? Maybe a chance for a third. Rafa Silva plays it into Ronaldo. Back to Rafa Silva at the edge of the box. Comes towards João Moutinho, who scored one of the best goals in the Premier League last season. Moutinho, back to Sanchez again. Lovely one-touch football from Portugal. As they start to play with a bit of freedom now they know that they're getting the win. Rafa Silva into Renato Sanchez. Back to Ronaldo again at the edge of the box. Rafa Silva. Back to Ronaldo on the right wing. Back to Rafa Silva. Back to Ronaldo. Brilliant work from Portugal. And what a brilliant goal it was indeed. And that was fantastic. And of course, it's that man CR7 who bags again. And it goes from bad to worse. 3-0 to Portugal. But don't take away from the sheer class and quality of that goal. Lovely interlinking football with Rafa Silva and Cristiano Ronaldo. And just like that, Hungary's night goes from bad to worse. It's 3-0. And CR7 has his second goal on a night where he hasn't even played that good. But in the end, he's got the 2 goals, and that's all that matters. And it is a brilliant, brilliant goal. Lovely interlinking work from the 2 forwards. And I'll tell you something, I would really put Rafa Silva up for man of the match, because since he's come on, he has made a real difference in this game. And just like that, Portugal, more importantly, get the goals that they need. Because we were saying earlier on in the stream, it was all about goal difference in this group. We thought it was going to come down to. And we said, get 2 or 3 goals on the board against Hungary, and you'll put yourself into a good position. And that's exactly what they've done. As once again, Hungary going to have to kick off here, knowing that unfortunately they're not going to be coming out with any points. But what a brilliant goal it was. And with 2 minutes left now, it's just going to be a case of waiting for this game to be done. As Carl said, Ronaldo scored, obviously 11 now, as he said. 11 goals in 22 games at €5. But Michel Platini scored 9 goals in 5 games at 1. It's strange Ronaldo isn't miles away from Platini by now. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It's mad. 9 goals in €1 is an unbelievable record. As free kick for Hungary. Varga lobs it towards Adam Shalai. Doesn't get to him in the end. It's cleared by Danilo Pereira. And of course, everybody pretty much back now for Portugal, just to do a bit of defending to make sure that they can keep the clean sheet. But what a brilliant, well, I'm saying what a brilliant performance. It was a dogged performance, I think, from Portugal today. They had to work hard to get the result. And in the end, once they brought the deadlock, that allowed them to really go through on goal. And I mean, the third goal was a beauty, as KL's put in the chat. Hope you're all good, mate. Absolutely brilliant goal. And no doubt that will be one of the better goals you'll see of the tournament. And with 50 seconds left here, I wonder if it was a little bit of fatigue that came into play for this Hungary side. They played so well, and we saw Sweden last night hold on for 90 minutes, but unfortunately Hungary couldn't hold on either. As Portugal might even have one more chance here to try and get themselves a 4th in the game. With 30 seconds left, ball with Nelson Semedo. They play it to Danilo Pereira, who of course started the actual attack for that third goal. Renato Sanchez with a dink ball towards Andre Silva, but in the end the pass is just a little bit too heavy, and Hungary will get the ball back for the final 10 seconds. So, just as they were saying here, a performance in which they became the first team to score 3 goals in the last 10 minutes of a match. It wasn't the most vintage performance in the world from Portugal, but it was good enough for Portugal to get the 3 points on the board in a game where they didn't play well, and Ronaldo didn't play well. It started poorly, but Ronaldo bagged himself 2 goals, and it all came, one from the penalty spot, and one of those goals was a moment of sheer brilliance from Rafa Silva and Ronaldo. We got another goal in the game as well, which came from, of course, it was the original first goal from Rafael Guerreiro. A very heavy deflection on the ball, but full time in the match, and Portugal take the game by 3-0. And it was a very disappointing performance if you're a Hungary fan, in terms of the fact you didn't get a result at the end of the game. You really think that they should have deserved something in the match, but just like they did in Euro 2016, they've had to work hard, Portugal, and they get their just deserves with CR7, of course, turning up in this tournament. He's only the second player to bag 2 goals in the tournament alongside Romelu Lukaku, and he also becomes the all-time top goal scorer of the European Championships. So records broken. All eyes now on the next game tonight. Don't forget, we've got more games to come this evening. You can join KD in an hour's time as France take on Germany. What a game that's going to be. Of course, all eyes on that now, especially after Portugal picked up the all-important 3 points that they needed. A really, really good result in the end. That will be covered by Kieran D, of course. But to go through the stats of the match and talk you through it, of course, got a little bit of time before we finish up with this stream for today. Of course, all the fans applauding the performance of their side, and of course, Portugal applauding the very few fans that made it to Budapest. But the actual stats of the game, Hungary, 5 shots with 3 on target, a good few chances in the game, including the very unfortunate goal, which was rightly disallowed for offside in the end by Saiger. We then had 11 shots, 7 on target, and 70% possession from Portugal. Dominant performance in the end in terms of the actual result. But very contrasting in terms of the game, because it took them a long time to eventually break through the deadlock and go and get something in the match. But they got it in the end. I don't think they'll care how they did it. They got the 3 goals. They've won the match. They've got the 3 points. And they can move on to their next game now, which, of course, is one of the 2 big top dogs. And that will be against Germany. That is on Saturday night at 5 o'clock. I'm going to be covering that match. So I get a double dosage of Portuguese action. So you can join me for that on Saturday night. Should be an absolute belter of a game to come when we get round to that match. Don't forget, you can check out our social media, as always, to join us and find out when we do go live on our channels. Our Twitter is at @the_top corner, and our Instagram is _sports corner_. Links are in the description and are in the chat, as always. But we've got more games coming up tomorrow, as we know. These are the fixtures coming up for tomorrow. Finland taking on Russia. That is the first game of match day 2. You can join Rowan for that game about 5 or 10 minutes before kickoff. That's at 2 p.m. UK time. We haven't got anybody to cover that Turkey-Wales match right now, but I think it could be KD who covers that game. I'm going to try and find out from him, but if so, then you'll be able to join KD for that match tomorrow from about 5 to 5 or 10 to 5. Turkey taking on Wales. It should be a very good game indeed. And then, as you guys have been asking in the chat, KL will be back. He's going to be watching Italy versus Switzerland tomorrow. That is live from about 10 to 8. Should be a very good game indeed, as of course Group A continues with plenty of action to come from there. We have got the lineups, by the way, for the next game coming up, which of course is that match between Germany and France. Very quickly, we'll go through those lineups now. I would get them on the screen, but I would be very worried that I'll actually just break the stream. So for those of you wondering with the lineups, I'll get them tweeted out very shortly. Benzema starts tonight in what is a very attacking France side. Looking at the team, it's looking a little bit like this. We've got Lloris, who is the goalkeeper. Benjamin Pavard, Kimpembe, Varane, and not Teo Hernandez. Actually, is that Teo Hernandez? Let me just have a quick check for a second and see. I think it's Lucas. Yeah, it is Lucas Hernandez are in the back line. Pogba, Kante, and Rabiot in that midfield. They've also got Griezmann, Mbappe, and Benzema. Going to be really excited to watch those in action tonight for France. As for Germany, the side is looking like this. Neuer is in goal, now the most capped keeper of all time for Germany. In the back line for Germany, they've got Rudiger, they've got Ginter and Hummels in a back 3. They've got Kimmich and Gosens as the wide players, I believe. They've got Gundogan in the midfield, as well as Havertz, Gnabry and Muller. So it should be a very, very good game indeed. On the bench for France tonight, they've got Mandanda, Magnan, the 2 keepers, Longley, Lamar, Giroud, Dembele, Tolisso, Zuma, Digne, Coman, Wissam Ben Yedder, and Jules Koundé. And as for Germany, they've got Halstenberg, Volland, Werner, Soul, Klostermann, Neuhaus, Sane, Chan, Philip Koch, and Gunter, as well as the 2 centre-backs. So the lineups are in. 4-3-3 for France tonight, and a 3-4-2-1 for Germany. It should be a very, very good game indeed. 2 teams full of very good attacking talent, and it should be a belter of a match indeed, which, as I said, you can join KD for in a little moment's time. Look at what's coming up for the rest of the week. As we said, Hungary against Portugal, all done and dusted now. 3-0 win for Portugal. Very enjoyable game to watch indeed. You could join France-Germany KDs. Not long to wait until an absolute belter. That's coming up very, very shortly indeed. Very excited for that. Finland Russia tomorrow. You can join Rome for that from 1:55. Should be a belter of a game. Two sides that will be hoping to get some points on the board. Finland, of course, already winning their first game. Italy against Switzerland is at 10-8. You can join KL for that. And then looking forward to the games ahead. It includes Denmark against Belgium. You could join me live for my next watch-along, which is on the 17th of June from 10 to 5. Hopefully, it should be a very good game indeed. But as for now, that is the end of this afternoon's stream. You can join KD a little bit later on for that belter of a match between France and Germany. Lots of action to come from there. But on a night where Portugal weren't really shining for 70 minutes, there's only one man that could come onto the pitch and get them a result. See you tomorrow.